Hello and welcome to this edition of One-on-One with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. I'm Lorna Virgili. Thank you for watching. Hello, Mr. Leggett. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you today?
Wonderful. Well, you have finally submitted your FY19 operating budget to County Council, and this is your last budget as County Executive. Are you breathing any better?
Well, not quite. It still has to get through the County Council for final approval. There are some uncertainties out there as it relates to the federal income tax changes and what that may do for Montgomery County down the line. And so we are cautiously optimistic about how the budget would proceed, but I think that most people feel fairly good about where we are today.
Yeah, the preamble that you said was that we must remain cautious in our spending. Now, the budgetary gap this year was roughly $208 million, but you put this together with the last budgets, and you're talking about over $3.7 billion in budget gaps that you have faced.
Well, unfortunately, I happened to enter office at a time when the economy really took a nosedive in the midst of the Great Recession. And as a result of that, revenues over the last 12 years or so really have taken a nosedive. And so overall, between what was originally estimated and spending projections, there was somewhere in the neighborhood of $3.7 billion over the entire 12 years. 1 year alone, for example, is $975 billion. And so we've closed all of those gaps over the years. And this year, quote, it was only $208 billion. Which is relatively small compared to some of the prior years. But unfortunately, in order to close that gap, some of the options that we've had in the past, no longer, for me at least, were on the table. For example, in the past, we had cut libraries by about 30%. We eliminated the COLAs, cost of living adjustments. We furloughed county employees. We had county employees pay more for their retirement, more for health costs. A variety of things, in my opinion, that were simply not attractive to do today. So although the numbers overall smaller, 208, but when you take those options off the table, it really has a negative impact.
So the challenges, obviously, these were some of the challenges that the low-hanging fruit was already basically gone. So what were your your options?
Well, to be honest, there's really no low-hanging fruit. All of the fruit and all the challenges that we face are difficult because you keep in mind that 80% of the county's budget is tied up in some form of personnel. 60% of it between the Montgomery College and K through 12 education is essentially what we pay for our school system. Another 10, 11% goes into debt service that you are obligated to pay. About 12% for personnel and related items related to the public safety areas. And so when you put all of those things together, you really have very little option because it's about only 25% of the budget that's left. And so anything that you select to do is going to be a difficult choice. The problems are not you have very good items and very bad items in the budget and therefore it's easy. If that was the case, you just simply eliminate the bad items. The problem that you constantly face is that all the items in the budget are very good, very sound policy reason as to why they're there. And so you're not selecting from good versus bad, you're selecting among various good, very good items within the budget and making a choice therein. And that becomes somewhat difficult.
So where would you say the bulk of the expenditure reductions went?
Well, the combination of things. First of all, we had a savings plan that provided us almost $60 million in relief that we saved from the current budget. So we then made certain reductions almost across the board in a number of areas in the county that saved us some monies as well. Because the county's budget, the budget for Montgomery County actually went down by 0.5%. And we held most of the other budgetary items in the agencies fairly close to less than 1%. The college got 0.8%. Maryland Park and Planning Commission got 0.8% as well. And so only one that really went up was the school system, 3.1%. So by holding all of that down, we were able to close much of the gap as well. And then I think what we've done for the remainder of that is slow the outlay of payments for our retiree health portions of the budget as well. We are paying for FY19, but the current payments, we slowed that down and saved some money as well. So the combination of cuts, reductions, the combination of what we've done with our OPED payments currently, and the early reductions that we made in the budget, as well as a small amount that you get by the increase of the tax up to the charter limit, all of those things in combination got us there.
Yeah, that slight property tax increase, was this pretty much one of the only avenues?
Yeah, but it's keep in mind what we're talking about here now. We actually reduced the tax rate by 2 cents to bring it from $100 of assessed value down to 98 cents. We did so because under the charter limit, you cannot exceed that limit. And so that will place us below that limit because there was an increase in the assessed value of the property. So you have to bring the rate down to keep it under that number. But it goes up almost consistent with inflation, which produced that $27 per year. People need to understand that. That's not $27 a month. That's $27 for the entire year. The medium tax bill will go for a medium house of $400,000 in Montgomery County, $27. If you look around the area, you see that some are going up 10 times that amount. One in particular goes up about $280 a year. Montgomery County, 27. That's 1/10 of that amount. So that's about $2.25 per month.
Per month. MCPS, 100% of the funds requested by the Board of Education. Superintendent Dr. Jack Smith was a happy camper when you presented the budget. $2.592 billion for MCPS.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of money, but we have a big school system. I think we're at about 163,000 students in our system. We are increasing that number by about 2,500 per year. That's a large number of students in our system. And you consider all the needs that we have in our system, that's very, very difficult to get to without some level of funding.
And Montgomery College also got $2 million above the maintenance of effort level.
Yeah, that's $2 million. We've had significant increase in the college over the year. For the years, for example, since 2007, we've increased student full-time equivalent of students about 62%. So that's pretty high.
Mr. Leggett, we got to take a short break, but we will be right back. We will continue talking to the county executive about the FY19 operating budget. Stay tuned.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
If you think someone might be considering suicide or drugs, be the one to help them by taking these 5 steps. Ask, keep them safe, be there, help them connect, follow up. If you're struggling, call Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK or the 24-hour crisis center at 240-777-4000. Be the one to help. Learn more at betheone.org.
Mark your calendars. The Montgomery County Greenfest is coming up and you don't want to miss it. Greenfest promises to be a fun-filled day of entertainment, community, and learning. Enjoy live music and fun and games for kids, learn how to green your home and neighborhood, attend a DIY workshop, and explore exhibitor booths. Greenfest has activities for all ages and interests. Make sure you stop by and explore your path to a greener life.
Welcome back to 101 with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. I'm Lorna Virgili. Mr. Leggett, we were talking about education, the school system, and also Montgomery College, the funding for this year.
Well, yes, because when you look at the school system, we have to meet the maintenance of effort. But if you simply met that and you look at the needs and the challenges the school system face, We have larger numbers of students who have really challenging needs in our school system, and therefore, in order to close the achievement gap and some of the other things, maintain smaller classes, you have to get beyond the maintenance of effort. So we've gone $19 million above that so that they could have a little bit more flexibility in trying to meet the very difficult demands on our public school system. That to me was worthwhile for us to do because, granted, it's a difficult challenge today. In order to give them 3.1% in terms of an increase and $19 million over the maintenance of effort, we really pushed down the other components of the budget. And so I pushed down county government by 0.5% and the others as well, keeping them close to less than 1%, so that we can make certain we had some capacity in order to respond to the growing needs in our education community.
Let's talk about public safety. One of the things that you did during the press event when you unveiled the FY19 budget was you talked about what has been accomplished in the last 12 years. Since 2007, 132 new officers have been added to the police department. Now, the population grew by 11%. It became more diverse and more people in the county, yet serious crime went down by 33%, has gone down by 33%. How is this result achieved?
Well, a combination of things. First of all, we have outstanding leadership at our police department. Chief Manger and his staff, I think they do a terrific job. And then the men and women who serve us as police officers throughout Montgomery County and the staff of civilians as well, they do a terrific job. Clearly, when you have a county that is large as Montgomery County, 1.1 million residents. Our county is quite diverse. People speak many different languages. There are cultural differences, a lot of things that challenge a police officer today in terms of the differences within our community. It makes the job of police officers in Montgomery County a very, very difficult job. And we try to respond to help. We built a completely new public safety training academy. We provided additional resources as well. We provided additional support where we thought was needed, and you give the training, you give the management the lead way to do what they need to do. We provide the resources, and you have the leadership and Chief Manger and his people, then you're going to get those types of results.
Gang prevention. In this particular budget, you added additional funding for the state attorney's office to focus more on gang activity in the county. Is that still a high concern?
It is, and what we're trying to do is to stay out in front so that we not slip back into some of the challenges we had some years ago. We still have some challenges related to gang violence in Montgomery County, and I want to make certain that we are prepared and we are out front, ensuring that our public remains vigilant about what is happening. We provide the resources to assist. But you can't do all of that simply by providing more resources for law enforcement. You have to do some of the other things as well, and this is why we provide an array of services that we look at, from recreational opportunities, job opportunities, all of those things supporting the families so that we can address the potential as well as the realization of gang challenges within our community in a very proactive way. So we get police enforcement, we provide the other resources as well, and I think this will help us to avoid some of the real challenges that we can see potentially coming down the pike unless you act aggressively, and we are acting aggressively and proactively.
Let's talk about the affordable housing. The 2017 resident survey basically said residents that responded, obviously, they were very pleased. Montgomery County is a livable community, but there were two things that I guess county residents wish for improvement. Traffic, number one, congestion, and number two, affordable housing.
Right.
On this particular budget, you allocated over $51 million to create more units in the county.
Yes, more units plus other programs and services to address the affordable housing challenge. One of the challenges we have here is trying to make certain that we have more affordable housing. But we have provided a great deal of resources. And the budgets that I've submitted over the 12 years, we're now $1.1 billion in amounts that we've provided for affordable housing. That has produced either created or sustained 70,000 affordable housing units in Montgomery County. That's an astounding number. The problem, however, is that the need continues to grow. Had you asked me some time ago, providing 70,000 units created or preserved, what kind of impact it would have, I thought it would probably almost virtually eliminate our problem. But unfortunately, that problem continues to grow.
And that includes projects for seniors, housing as well.
We have 19 projects for seniors, 2,100 units for seniors have been produced as a result of that.
This budget also includes $38.5 million for Community of a Lifetime for seniors.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, we like to have seniors who want to stay in the county, and we provide the resources, the programs, and services to assist them. That's anything from transportation, because there's a growing need for seniors who want to get around and be active, for recreational resources that they need, for meals in certain locations when we have to go to visit them at home and provide all kinds of assistance for seniors, for health care, for housing. There are a variety of things that we have in our budget that totals at $30+ million that go to assist seniors in Montgomery County. But it's a complex number of things we have because seniors have a lot of needs, and we're trying to respond to much of that as possible from the county government.
When we talk about seniors, we always talk about youth as well. And the budget also provided funding for the positive youth development programs. Which particular programs are the ones?
Well, Excel Beyond the Bell.
Excel, okay.
The one
Is that going to be
comes-
expanded?
Yes, we're expanding it, quite not as fast as I would like to, because it's a wonderful program, and we'll like to expand it in many, many more areas of the county. But unfortunately, given the slowdown they have in the budget this year and what I'm trying to do in terms of preserving a great deal of our support for those areas, we have to slow that down because obviously we can't afford to do everything I would like to do at this point in time.
And when it comes to reserves also, reserves went from $77 million back in 2007 to over $492 million today.
Yeah, people sometimes hear that number and they're astounded by the number because our reserves are high. But in my opinion, they're not quite high enough. We have an objective of getting to 10% by year 2020, so that the next county executive will have to get that remaining 0.5% there. We're about 9.4, 9.5%. Taking into consideration where we were when I started and what happened during the Great Recession, our reserves had gone down to 2.1%, about $77 million. The budget that I'm announcing today, we are now at about $500 million. It's an astounding increase in reserves. So despite all the challenges we've had and holding down expenditures, we continue to invest in providing resources to go into our reserve accounts so that we can offset many of the challenges that you may face as it relates to changes in taxes, changes in revenues in other areas, a variety of problems that impact us. So we need to get that number up, especially now when there's so much uncertainty out there.
Mr. Leary, we've got to take another short break, but we will be right back. Stay tuned. We'll be back with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett.
Hey, mister, down here. You illegally passed the stop school bus. I'm placing you in timeout, and this timeout means big fines, plus you really could have hurt somebody. That's why school buses are being equipped with video cameras to help kids like me stay safe, so respect the bus.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls, 311. MC 311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Planning to renovate your home? Want to live in it longer? Then you don't want to miss the 2018 Design for Life Showcase. This is the event to hear from building professionals who specialize in accessible and universal design. Plus, you'll learn how to benefit from the Montgomery County Design for Life property tax credit. The goal is to create more homes that welcome people of all ages and stages of life. This year's showcase is set for May 5th at the Silver Spring Civic Building. Find out more by visiting the Design for Life website.
Welcome back to 101 with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. I'm Lorna Virgili. Mr. Leggett, when you presented your FY19 operating budget, there were 4 instances where the crowd got really excited and applauded really hard and laughed as well. Once was when you announced a 100% funding for the request of the Board of Education. 2, sustaining the AAA bonding rating for the county, and the fact that the county is the healthiest in the state, continues to be, and that you as a county executive have held more town halls and budget forums than all of the other county executives in the past combined together. And the crowd really cheered to that when you mentioned that, reminding them of that.
Well, here's the challenge, I guess, trying to meet with people, explain the very difficult and complex budgets and challenges we've had over the years. People respect that, and they know how hard it is and sometimes how difficult it is to go out in the midst of a recession when people are concerned about programs and services, concerned about taxes, concerned about sustainability, and a variety of individualized issues that impact them. To go before them and stand before them, to take all the questions, to hear all the comments. Many of them are not favorable comments, and you do that time and time and time throughout the 12 years. We had over 12 years, we had 60 budget forums alone on the operating budget. And every other year, we had half that number as it relates to the capital budget. That doesn't include town hall meetings. That doesn't include at one point we had live in radio programs, television programs, a variety of other things where you're constantly meeting with the residents of Montgomery County. They respect that. This is a very knowledgeable county. People are actively engaged in what happens in the county, and I think that they really appreciate the fact and respect the fact that elected officials are prepared to come, stand before them, talk, answer questions, listen to their concerns, and then you reflect a good part of that back in your budget. So you're just not listening, but you're acting on the things that you hear. So I think people recognize how hard that has been, but I have been consistent in my endeavors to ensure that we do that year after year.
Let's transition to the state level. General Assembly still in session in Annapolis. You've been visiting the state's capital at least once a week. Still, what are those priorities that continue to be on the top of the list for you for this session once it wraps up?
Well, certainly resources and support for many of the things that we're trying to do locally. One of the things we have to recognize is that the residents, citizens of Montgomery County have provided a great deal to support a large number of programs. I'm not sure that we get the adequate resources that we need always from the state in a variety of areas. Let's take education, for example. Our student enrollment is increasing about 2,500 students. We have large construction needs to provide access, needs to provide additional maintenance support for our school system. And so there's a request from Montgomery County for $59 million in the CIP, the capital budget that we need in order to get this done. That's the kind of help that we need. We continue to need help in transportation initiatives around the county and a variety of other areas from libraries, recreation, public safety, you name it. All of those are important for us, and we just simply need additional support. Montgomery County is the economic engine of the state of Maryland. And for us to be productive, for us to be efficient, for us to continue to deliver the jobs, the tax base that the residents and the rest of the state want and need, we have to make certain that we are in a good position to provide the infrastructure that is necessary to support that. So we need just additional help. We've made that fairly clear, and we continue to fight as we speak to try to deliver on those points.
And what do you think would be actually doable and feasible, taking into account the state's financial situation?
Everything that I just mentioned. I think
everything is doable and feasible, and we want it now.
That's right. We want it now. Yeah.
All right. The governor, Larry Hogan, he visited and toured actually the Public Safety Academy with you. It was just to learn a little bit more about the training and talk about gang activity prevention and Amazon and so forth. You had a closed-door meeting. What were the highlights of those conversations?
Well, basically we went through discussion about what we are doing as it relates to police and training, how we see the challenges working interrelated with other parts of the county on challenges related to crime, most particularly gang-related activities, not only in Montgomery County, but throughout the region, and working with the state, as well as other areas of the community, for example, Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C. as well. So we had a great conversation with our public safety personnel. We had a great conversation with some of the people working in the nonprofit sector who have provided help and support for families. And so it's a combination of public safety, working closely together, as well as the side of Health and Human Services, providing the support that will provide us with a combination of things to address the growing concerns that we have about public safety and gang-related activities throughout this region.
And Amazon.
What about it?
Amazon.
Oh,
Amazon.
Oh, how do you spell that?
Amazon.
Oh, Amazon.
It's the same in English and Spanish.
Okay.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the question?
The question is, the governor basically said that the county and the state were working together, collaborating. Indeed, it's part of economic development. Our package, the county's package, it's been kept in, under lock and key. We don't know much about it. But what is that collaboration between the state and the county?
Well, we're working together, and it is our hope and expectation that they will look very favorable on what Montgomery County and the state have provided in terms of our desire to host the second headquarters for Amazon. If we get beyond this stage, and if we are, which I hope we will be, in a position therefore to discuss the actual location here, then we will have a great deal of public discussions about all aspects of details. But right now, I think it's premature for us to talk about something for which there is no actual decision about whether or not they will come here. Once we get to a further stage about this, we will have ample time to discuss every aspect of everything we've talked about.
Circling back to the FY19 operating budget, and we only have about 1 minute left, have you heard any feedback yet from County Council?
As it relates to the budget, well, we had a meeting earlier today, and in that meeting they expressed a great deal of support for what we've laid out. Obviously, the County Council has the last word on the budget. My request is simply that we try to stay within the broad parameters of what we've described. Clearly, they can go outside of that, and on occasion they have, but I think when you look historically at what we've presented, there's not a great deal of difference between what I recommended and ultimately what the county ultimately approves.
Well, thank you, Mr. Leggett, for joining us today. And for you watching at home, do remember the budget. It can be viewed online at montgomerycountymd.gov. I'm Lorna Virgili, and thank you for watching.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
In Montgomery County, we have a goal to reduce waste and recycle 70% of all waste by 2020. By recycling and reducing waste, we save natural resources and make our community even better. So recycle at home, work, school, everywhere, and keep recycling going. For more information, call the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311 or visit montgomerycountymd.gov/recycling.
Keep it going.
Recycle more now.